I have joined the news because, let's be real, something happened over the weekend that was worse than 10 9/11s.
Damn.
It was worse than 100 bombings of the Israeli nuclear sites. No, sorry, Iranian. Okay. Four Extra blew his hand off. And obviously, this was an extremely viral thing to have taken place. In particular, I think because of the fact that he has essentially built his entire name off of, threatening violence, saying that he wanted to pack people out, claiming that he won 10 fights in a row in jail. He never claimed that he put a carrot in his butt, but we all kind of, or in someone else's butt. We all kind of know that he probably did. And it took the internet by storm. And it was even crazier that it was 4th of July weekend. It was everybody had plenty of time on the internet. Everybody's looking at their phones, hanging out with their families. And all of a sudden we find out that someone who in many people's minds was the most viral No Jumper host of all time, many would say, was now a man without a hand. And there were a lot of insensitive reactions to it that I'm sure we all saw. It was hard not to acknowledge the hypocrisy of the fact that many of us in this room, particularly this couch, have spent a lot of oxygen making fun of other people who are missing limbs.
It happens.
It's a hip-hop thing. I'm just going to blame it on that. That being said, for Extra, missing a hand, apparently still does not have his vision completely back. I do believe a large percentage of it is back, and that he's not going to be living his life as a blind man, which is, to be honest with you, we find out that he blew his hand off. 40 minutes later, they're telling me he's blind. I spent many hours thinking that he was blind and missing a hand before I was finally assured that, to some extent, his vision is coming back.
Well,
so
is the blindness caused by the explosion, or was it or is that more like a trauma reaction that the body just?
No,
had?
it was the explosion. From what I heard, he was actually in the car and he was lighting the firework, about to throw it out the window, and his homie was driving, and that's why his homie, I think, may have lost an ear, this part of his face, and an eye. Now, I'm not even 100% sure who the friend is. I don't know if it's somebody that he's ever brought to the office or somebody that I've ever spent time around. But and then in addition, for Extra, I think it being contained was probably worse for whatever happened to his vision, because of the fact that they were in a car, and I guess the window was probably down, but the roof and everything is going to kind of contain the blow. I don't know. I mean, I'm taken aback. Like last night, because I was in Palm Springs for 4 days away on a little vacation with the family, right? And so I didn't have any weed. I just had a little tiny weed pen. I forgot my spliffs. When I get home last night at 10, I smoke a spliff. I get really, really, really high. Then I go and I lay in bed, and my high brain was just so overwhelmed by the fact that this is our reality. Already being such a famous gang member, a famous icon in this space, somebody that the people are so intrigued by, they'll just click on hearing him talk about so many different things. And now to know that a large part of his claim to fame is gone, I mean, I honestly kind of feel like I just lack the words to even describe how crazy and shitty and messed up the situation is,
Have you spoke to him?
I have not. I sent him a voice note. I've been speaking to Lupe. It's like a group chat with me, Lupe, and Whack and Remo that has been kind of our main way that we've been finding stuff out. I know Remo's hopped on the phone with Lupe a couple times, but I have not actually spoken to him, although I offered to go to the hospital this morning and was told that he's not going to be having guests at this time. And then I did see Kevin Gates there. So that was that was
Shows you where you stand.
that was a little troubling. No, and
that was like a day ago.
that was like yesterday. The same.
Yeah.
I offered to come today, but anyway, like Whack was in the group chat, so Whack was tripping on Lupe, like, how dare you let Kevin Gates go there and Adam can't go there. I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have even thought to raise a stink about that. But I guess we might as well go around the room. What are your thoughts on 4Extra now being without a hand?
Well, obviously there's like this the elephant in the room is the whole poetic aspect about it. You know what I mean? Like, this is the guy that has been, what from people's perspective, kind of bullying people with the threat of his hand. You know what I mean? He's never imposed that threat on me. He's always been super kind to me. You know what I mean? Nice guy, dope person, you know, horrible thing to happen, but just the fact that this is a guy known for his hands, instilling fear, had the whole incident with Unk, you know what I mean?
When there was a thumbnail that had him standing up next to Unk with a red circle around his hand. Never have I ever felt more like I'm living in a simulation.
Yeah, no, it's like, that was my first takeaway beyond anything else, is like, No Jumper is not real. There's no possible way that 4Extra lost his hand. There's no way that I do a podcast with Munchie B every Tuesday and Ralphie the Plug every Friday. There's no way that's actually a thing. You know what I mean? There's no way any of this is real. It's not real. I don't believe it.
I mean, so did it really burn fast, or was he holding in the car trying to throw it at the right spot and just held it too long?
They're saying that
throw it and it bounced back, or
they're saying it was a dirty batch and they were going a lot quicker than expected.
We have any other situations with dirty batches this weekend in LA?
So per my understanding, in that like group of friends, there was 3 different incidents where
it went off too quickly.
Wow.
Where it went off too quickly.
Really?
Yeah. So that wasn't the even within those guys hanging out.
I am
Because my homie's
hesitant
cousin
to.
was with them all day.
I've seen a lot of people pushing a conspiracy theory that like the Mexicans are trying to take the blacks out by selling them faulty fireworks. I feel like that's far too much of a leap to a conclusion that based without evidence, it just seems like kind of an absurd claim to make.
But to the masses is crazy. Now, like, oh, I don't like this guy, sell him this box. Maybe, but we're gonna sell all these, and we're only gonna get a couple incidences.
Yeah, and we're gonna take out our rival race by blowing off their appendages.
I've seen a lot of
Seems unlikely.
I've seen a lot of pictures similar to the 4Extras one, and it's normally a Mexican in the picture. You feel me? Like, they get in the most, like, because they're the fireworks plug. You feel
Or a
me?
trailer park white guy.
Or a trailer park white guy, 1,000%.
Sure, one of the two.
Yeah. Is not normally like a South Central gang member, but like at the end of the day, I feel like people are just being super insensitive about it, and I get it. And I feel like the groups of people that people are going to be the most insensitive towards in situations like this are gang members, rappers, and podcasters. And he happens to check all 3 boxes.
But for the most part, the ones that he really had beef with, like, didn't really say anything crazy, right? Like Jap 5 and
Jap 5 was respectful about it, yeah. But
It's
then
the
somebody
other
like
people.
X4 couldn't bring himself to
he
be
did,
chill
for
about
sure.
it. But then, like, you know, Munchie B in our group chat kind of made it clear that he wasn't really planning on joking about it or anything like that. But then meanwhile, somebody like T-Rail, who again is missing an appendage of his own, he had a bunch of jokes that he made about it and everything. I mean, and that was part of it too, is like, there's a lot of people who seem like they probably would not have dissed him in a world in which he had his right arm, but now that his fist is gone, people are, you know, seemingly much more open to making jokes about it, which I've seen a lot of people saying is very, very cowardly.
No, if you wanted to find him, Vernon to Western to Fig, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you wanted
feel
to
me?
find him,
30s to the hundreds.
right?
You know where he at.
I feel like Brandon's going to have like a...
Break it down, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon's going to tell us why.
What's the nuanced take?
There's no nuanced take. Just basically, like, between 9 and 12,000 incidents happened with fireworks or munitions is what he had, like explosive, going off prematurely on the 4th of July nationally. What's going on there, to just like really shed some light on it? Basically, it's the way they're storing it. There are M1000s. They're stored in like cases. Some may have gunpowder actually leaking out of them, and if that gets on like the wick that you light, it causes it to disintegrate instantly versus a slow burn like it's supposed to. You're supposed to light the end, it slowly burns down, and you get about 30 seconds before it goes off.
Yeah, all the videos I watched, it took a while for them to go off.
I went and watched a bunch of videos too. And the way you're supposed to do that is you're supposed to put it on the ground, then light it, then move out of the way. Even the way 4Extras was handling the explosive, keeping them in his hands. No, God, they probably were falling on the ground, picking them back up, all this stuff. It just was a recipe for disaster. Anytime you're trying to throw that stuff, you're not supposed to throw it. Even when you watch them blow up mines and stuff, they are far away already. And then it blows up. So it's just ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Like not really understanding what he was dealing with.
But it may have been faulty as well.
No, I'm saying
that's why it was faulty. Essentially, right? I
don't think the M1000 was faulty in itself. I believe that these things are not being stored properly. The people who are selling these things, they're getting them, they're throwing them in their trunk, and then they're just selling them to the community with no safety. But
you gotta respect that too. It's like a gun, bro. Like you can't just think it's a toy. I'm gonna go have fun. Like you gotta have a level of respect for those too.
No, straight. What about right beforehand? Like
that's the craziest
literally
part, bro.
first. It's like a few moments later. The first clip was him being like, "I'm gonna blow him up with this shit." Like where the ops at? Like,
but what? Like, that's crazy.
And in reality, like we know 4Extra's about that life. I'm not saying he's.
But he's around when he says,
100%.
I'm gonna go blow somebody's head off with this or whatever.
Yes.
It's like
about what life?
Well, like
he's a fader, not a shooter. In games, there's different.
He did 10 years in prison for shooting up somebody.
Yeah, but he's still a fader, not a shooter. A shooter is not talking about I'm fighting and doing none of that. Most shooters don't even want to catch fades inside jail. What I was gonna say was the most ignorant part is why are you lighting M1000s in a car? Of every video that I watched, which is over 100 videos just for research purposes,
100.
Nobody was attempting to light this in a car. There were even people getting their hands blown off, and at least they were outside. People blowing things. People use these things to blow stuff up, like cabinets.
Well, it's like like it's pretty normal when it's kids.
When have you ever seen someone like? I'm asking you this question.
No.
When have you ever seen someone light a firework in a car?
Never. Like to be honest with you, an M1000. I don't even really think
Just
I've
anything,
seen too many
even
of those.
the little safe little ones. You've never think about in your life. You've never seen someone attempt to light any type of firework inside a vehicle. This is a new level of ignorance that we've achieved.
Well, I will say that like I'm a person, and as far as this just seeming like weirdly, I don't know if poetic is the word, but just weirdly like cryptic how this all went down. Right before I found out, I had been having a conversation with my mom on vacation, and my mom said, "Oh, I knew that you were my son when you were, 7 years old, and we were going to go to the fireworks, and you said that you thought fireworks were stupid and you didn't like fireworks." And then like 20 minutes later, I found out that my friend blew his hand off with fireworks. I'm personally someone who's never really been that fascinated by them, in the sense that, okay, you spend a bunch of money on them. I've known people throughout the years who are going and spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fireworks, and then it makes a loud noise. There's some bright colors or whatever, and then that's kind of it. To me, this is just not something that I ever really saw as like all that fascinating. But if you know 4Extra, I mean, his attitude towards the fireworks, and we didn't really know this about him since we never seen him on the streets for a 4th of July, but he's like a kid in the candy shop. Like when it comes to the fireworks, this to him is sensory overload. He loves it. He thinks it's the funniest, coolest, best thing ever. And now he's going to spend the rest of his life as a man with just one hand.
Well, because also like this is a guy that doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. I feel like he's somewhat of an adrenaline junkie, and I kind of got that vibe when we were doing the go-karts a few days ago. Josh can attest, like 4Extra was definitely, obviously as usual, the life of the party, and was very like he was really into the whole go-kart thing and trying to, you know, smack into people. And
So
all
we
that.
still have that vlog ready to release. So when
Yeah.
that comes out, don't expect him to be an amputee. He's already.
What if he
he's gonna have
never-
both
what if
hands.
he-
Yeah, pre-incident.
What if he just like never had a childhood like that? And like, so when he does, he gets to kind of do childish things. Like he has like now an abundance of resources, I guess, because of how handsomely Adam pays him. Maybe he's just like living out all his like childhood fantasies, going go-kart racing and
Well,
And he just
I
getting
don't know
extra.
exactly what his childhood was like. Like I don't know how rough it was, or
Yeah.
if that kind of
I
began
mean,
later.
yeah, so what if? But the biggest thing that shocked me was that GoFundMe. Like, bro actually got money. I didn't expect that.
I think he's
thing-
at 8K right now.
I didn't expect him to get $200.
Right.
Literally.
Well, I guess it's like, I mean, like how fancy is he going with this limb replacement? Is he going full cyborg hand? Is he finna have a Metroid blaster like Samus Aran? Like what are we doing here? Because potentially, even if he has just metal fingers that are, and there's
Bro,
some
he's
way
not
to
gonna get metal fingers.
But
He's
doesn't
just
he
gonna
still
have a
couple
stump.
fingers?
Who do we
Why-
even
why
know with
not?
metal fingers?
Why-
Yeah.
like
It's
it's
still
20.
the wrist, or he still has a couple fingers in like the hand, kind of.
Well, look, if it's 2025,
Allegedly, it's this.
Yeah, that right.
Like,
hang loose.
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
It's a Hawaii
Yeah,
thing
hang
or
loose.
something, right? That's
He's
what they
hang loose
say.
in Hawaii,
Yeah,
yeah.
they'll make him like a rubber sleeve that slides on his hand, so it looks like it just blends in. And if he has any hand tattoos, they'll put them on that thing.
Or I feel like
That's
he's
dope,
he's
but
going to be
yeah.
one of these guys. I was assuming like he'll just kind of keep once the bandages come off or whatever. I feel like he'll keep it tucked up in there. Like I don't know, because obviously the idea of him just like flaunting his nub is like crazy to imagine. I don't think he's going to be showing whatever he's got left off.
Yeah,
Doing
no, unless you
erotic
got that
scenes with
thing.
Kazumi with the nub.
Well, a lot of people, the Swamp Stories posted that on Instagram. Like, will Adam 22 allow for extra to fuck his wife with his new nub? And some
The
people are
streets wanna
just
know.
sick. Like Swamp Stories, come on.
You ever heard that joke?
This
of
guy
picking the
just had a
streets?
song where he said he jerks off to his best friend's wife.
I mean, I mean,
That's
said,
that's
I
worse.
masturbate to my friends. That's the sexiest. So that just could
Is that about me?
it could be about.
No, it's
anybody.
about you.
Hey,
Stop.
You got the sexiest.
Now you gotta make it.
I just thought it was the
I've been
creepiest
researching.
thing I
It can
could
make you
possibly
I mean, if
say.
you wanted to jerk
make you
off to
think.
like most people's wives, you would be short of material by which to do so. If you wanted to jerk off to my wife, there's plenty of stuff out there.
But that's the thing that like it kind of wasn't about Adam. It was more like about like the homies' wives that are more.
Can you
regular
stop
and
lying?
Square. No, like
Can you
feel
stop?
me? Like the
This
homies'
guy
wives
kills
that
me.
have no.
Well, it's
why
probably
would I
about
not
a
say
bunch
I?
of different-
If you say you
You think
jerk
I'll
off
be
to
in-
my homie's wife,
You think I'd
there's
be
only
embarrassed if I?
there's only
Are you?
there's
she's
only
a professional.
one there's only one person that you know whose wife you could see in a vulnerable way to where to an appealing way to where you could even jerk off. Like
I got a twist
this
in mind,
is
Brandon.
clearly aligned
I
to
don't
this
give a
guy.
shit. You can
Yeah,
beat
he
me-
doesn't
you can
care,
beat me
but-
all day.
Yeah,
But he's trying to like walk it
No,
back.
it wasn't about him.
He was
That's the-
definitely inebriated when he rapped that shit.
My girl did think it was about Adam. Too, I'm not gonna
Everyone
lie.
knows it.
But-
Think
But it was like low key more about people like you, like my regular friends that have.
My
no
wife is
wives.
hot, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's who it was more about.
R&B.
Type. You feel me?
No.
Like
I would produce rope to R&B if she had
Yes.
OnlyFans.
that's what I'm saying. Like
everybody here pretty much
Dead
has
homies.
a hot wife.
Oh, you probably beat off to Negra.
whoa,
Who's Negra?
whoa! I
Icon's wife.
feel
That's
attacked
violent.
right now.